Hello, welcome to another interesting mentoring session. We do these sessions every month where we meet to talk about things that are very important for our personal development. We've started this journey in the last 9 months. This is the 10th month, and it's just a pleasure to see how, what we're sharing and all that we've learned in the last 9 months is helping us to become better, both in our personal lives and in our professional lives. I know that many people that follow me are career professionals and business people, business founders, or should I say, aspiring business owners, people that really want to do business maybe much later in life, or people that just are self employed who really want to be better in their ability to be able to also influence their world, impact their world, contribute meaningfully to the environment that they operate in. So, this is me saying welcome. This is October 2025, and I want to welcome you specially to this edition of our mentoring session where I go live and talk about things that are important to us and really just share from my experience, from the principles that have worked, from the things that I've done and the things that I've seen my clients do or the things that I've learned from my mentors. Just really sharing with my mentorship community what things that they can also learn from all of that. So it's really my pleasure to be sharing with you once again and just really getting a sense around, how all these things are helping you. Feel free to, just chat with me and let me know what's coming up for you, and just see how that really is helping you to be able to become a better person as you go through your own journey, right? Of personal development, of becoming a better person, and really just, expanding the frame of your impact and your influence, right? I get a number of you, sending me messages, talking to me about the things that are shaping up for you, the things that are coming up for you, and of course, some of the challenges that you're also facing in your life and how you're navigating all of those things. And I must say, kudos to you, for growing this far, for really taking a bet on yourself and growing in the process. So today we're talking about something really very important, which I believe is critical to becoming a better version of yourself, to really step into that leadership potential that you already have and amplifying it. So today we're talking about finding your voice, how to speak with clarity and confidence. Finding your voice, how to speak with clarity and confidence. In today's world, your voice is your passport. In today's world, where technology gives us access into rooms without even necessarily being there physically, right? I dare say that your voice will carry you farther than where your legs would even take you. And that is why it's important for you to find your unique voice and be able to speak with confidence and clarity that allows you to command the room, when you do get access into those rooms. And I usually say to my mentees that don't just think about getting access into rooms, especially rooms that you aspire, where people that are movers and shakers are, and of course, maybe mentors or people that you look up to in the society are, or bigger platforms than what you've had access to before. Don't just dream about getting access into those rooms, but more importantly, ask yourself, how am I going to make a difference when I get into these rooms? How am I going to show myself as somebody that is a value addition to that network, to that platform? How do I contribute meaningfully? How do I add value when I get there? How am I not just going to be just another number in that environment, in that community? How do I make my voice count for something? How do I make my stand known on things that are important to me and things that are for the greater good of everybody? That's what it is to be a leader. That's what it means to be a visionary leader in that sense, right? And that is why the conversation about finding your voice is very important today. Finding your voice. When I talk about finding your voice, I'm not talking about your singing voice. Not at all. I'm not talking about your singing voice. I'm not even talking about the volume of your voice, whether your voice is low or high or husky. That's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about your ability to express yourself with clarity and confidence. Because here's the truth: you can have the best ideas in the world, but if you cannot express them in a way that is clear for people to really understand what you're trying to say, they remain trapped inside of you. So it's not going to be enough that you have great ideas. It's going to be much more that you are able to language those ideas, you're able to give voice to the ideas that are brewing up inside of you, and you're able to present it in a way that your audience can receive it, they can accept it, and can add value to them. When I was much younger, when I was growing up, I used to be that child that would rather be in the background. I remember my primary school days. In fact, there was a particular incident that I remember. You know, in primary school, during whether it's Christmas or festive seasons, or maybe end of school, end of term, or end of session activities where you engage in different types of activities, whether you're singing, you're miming, you're rapping, you're acting drama, you're doing one thing or the other. I'm sure some of you can relate to some of those things. I was that person who was happy to just be in the middle or somewhere at the back where people will not notice me. So I'll never volunteer to maybe lead the song, for instance. I'd never volunteer to be the lead actor or actress, as you may want to call it. And I remember a particular instance where I was called to act in a drama, right? And when it was my turn to act my script, my voice just left, like I couldn't find my voice. I couldn't speak. It was almost as though the ground should just open and swallow me, because I don't know what happened. I just lost my voice. I couldn't even say what I wanted to say. I was too intimidated that I could not even voice out all that I had prepared. And in that moment, when you struggle to speak or when you begin to second guess yourself, the question you're then asking yourself is, what's wrong? Is it that I'm not smart enough? And sometimes the reason we get into that mode where it seems like we freeze is there is this ongoing chatter that is going on in your head. And you're asking yourself, what if I don't sound smart enough? What if I'm not making sense? What even when I say it, they laugh at me? What if they don't take me seriously? Maybe you've been there too. Maybe you found yourself in an environment, as maybe you show up in your workplace and you're in a room or you're in a meeting where people are deliberating and they expect you to come up with ideas and share your ideas, but you're just afraid that if you say what you say, what if it doesn't come out right? What if it comes out like the dumbest thing that anyone could say and people just laugh at you? It makes you look less than who you are, and you'd rather just keep your face like, I'd rather not say this thing and come off as someone that is not really smart than say it and then risk being ridiculed, and all of those kind of things. But today I want you to break from that, because I did break from mine. I mean, I shared the experience of back then in primary school where I would not put myself out. I didn't even think that I was creative like that. So anything that required creative, artistry, whatever, in form of singing, dancing, I felt like I had a good voice to sing. I'd rather be a backup singer than be a lead singer. I would rather not put myself out in a drama where I'm asked to speak. So I didn't grow up being that child who was bold enough to articulate our ideas or our thoughts. You will not find me in debating club, where you have to debate and talk, with a sense of conviction about your ideas or your thoughts about a particular topic. You won't find me there. I was not that child at all. I was introverted. I would rather write what I thought than speak what I thought. even though writing was my superpower, I didn't know how to convert that into spoken words that will come out with power, with conviction. But I did learn that over the years, especially as I progressed in my career. And of course, as I came to understand, identified, being noticed by management, right? Or being positioned for new opportunities or positioned for promotion, those kind of things were people that were very visible. And when I say visible, it's not about just being all over the place. There were people that contributed in meetings. There were people that shared their ideas. There were people that were bold. Sometimes maybe they're not even sure about what they're saying, but the boldness and the confidence with which they presented just meant that people looked at them a certain way and they almost believe what they're saying, whether it really fully made sense or not. But people just give them that opportunity to still express themselves. And because a lot of people are also timid in that way, they give respect to you who is able to step forward and put your ideas forward and put language, to your own thoughts and your ideas, and you're able to present it with clarity and confidence. Because I know that a lot of people don't have this thing. That's why I know that it is something that is valuable, very valuable in today's world. Again, whether you're in a career setting or you're in a business setting. In fact, if you're in a business setting, you are putting language to your ideas every day. When you show up on social media, you're trying to promote your product or your service or your business, as it were, you're giving voice to your idea. You're giving voice to what you believe in and what you think would bring value to other people. You're bringing language to your value proposition. And if you don't do that, if you don't know how to communicate properly, how to find your voice, you may find that nobody is patronizing you. You may find that nobody is, even checking out what you've got. Do you see? So it's important that this conversation that we're having about finding your voice is not just limited to whether you're a career person, you're a business person, you're a creative person. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with that. Because even as a parent, you have to be able to give a voice to your principles, your values, how you contribute, how you share those with your children or the people that are under your care. So you would realize that every point in time, as you grow, as you develop, and every opportunity that you have to be able to influence somebody requires you to use your voice. It requires you to use your voice. And that is why it is important for you to know that finding your voice is a critical thing. Finding your voice is a critical thing. Like I said, when I, talk about your voice, it's not just your singing voice, is not how sonorous your voice is, but your ability to articulate properly what it is that you're trying to say, the ideas that are bubbling and welling up in your mind, and just being able to present them confidently and with clarity. All right. So I would say to you that if you've been silent, if you've been that person who feels like you would rather keep quiet than share your thoughts, I think it's time for you to really change that, because you can't grow in your leadership journey without the ability to be able to use your voice for influence, use your voice for impact. Many of you want to be speakers, you want to be able to, position yourself for opportunities that gives you more visibility. But with visibility comes the idea of you being able to use your voice. With your quest for leadership is also the learning, really, the ability to be able to use your voice for impact, for leadership, for influence. All right. So let's talk a bit about the power of the voice. Throughout history, voices have changed the world. People that have an agenda, people that have an idea, people that have, something to share with the world and they feel like the world needs to hear it. People that want to make changes within their environment, within their society, within their community, have used their voices. And this has transcended generations from the days of the Bible. So if I take you to the Bible, for instance, think about Moses. Moses was just like us, was like you and I, who will, second guess ourselves, who will, tell ourselves we're not good enough. Remember when God called him, his immediate response was, I can't speak. In fact, he said something particularly, said, I am slow of tongue. What that meant is that I'm not a fast speaker, I'm a stammerer. It's even worse. This thing that we're talking about is worse for people who stammer, who feel like they can't get their words out. The words are bubbling in their mind, but they can't get it out as fast as they want to communicate. you know, and the possibility of also being misunderstood also comes with that. Yeah. So he said, I can't speak. How are you giving me this magnitude of a vision when you know that I can't speak? Why did he say that? He doubted himself. He didn't think that he was good enough. He felt like someone that already had, speaking superpowers or something, that already had the charisma or whatever to deliver was better to deliver that message. But God chose him. So that is why I'm saying to you right now that it's possible that there's an assignment on your life as well. And you're saying, God, no, not me. I can't speak. I don't want to be embarrassed. God, in the case of Moses, still used his voice, that voice that he says, "Oh, I can't speak. I'm slow of tongue. I'm a stammerer." Everything he said was everything that God needed. That was the raw material. So, whichever way you think you are right now, in your level of confidence and your ability to use your voice, whatever it is, if you can release it and if you can be deliberate and committed to refine that potential, that raw material that you have, you'll be shocked how that thing that you thought was nothing can now become something, can now become what can be used to influence other people. All right. So God used Moses' voice as slow or whatever as it is. He used it to confront Pharaoh and he used it to lead a whole nation to freedom. Think about that. Think about that. Now let's think of a modern day example like Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Her storytelling, her ability to tell stories it wasn't just about entertaining. I don't think of her, when I think about her works, I don't think about her in terms of entertainment. She's not an entertainer. She has used a voice to shift global perceptions about Africa, particularly. She found a voice. She was able to use her voice to articulate her thoughts and her opinions, and she stood by them strongly. And the world listened. She's a global writer, author, speaker, someone that when she speaks, the world listens. So, what's the lesson for you? The lesson here is that your voice is not just sound, your voice is influence. Your voice is influence. Your voice is identity. Your voice is your legacy. Let me expand on that a little bit. I still listen to a lot of Miles Monroe's messages on YouTube. And there are many more messages that were released after his death that we still listen to today. They don't have his image, they don't have his pictures because they're no longer here. But we still hear his voice. His voice still reverberates. My children don't know Miles Monroe. They don't know him. They've never encountered him. They don't know what he looks like. But guess what? They hear his voice. My children's children will hear his voice. That alone is legacy. And that is why you, as a professional or as a business owner, whatever capacity that you operate in, record your voice. Record your voice, put it on platforms. Don't use social media to just entertain. Don't use social media to just, do things that are just, by the side. Use social media to your advantage as a documentary of who you were on this side of the world. Let it be felt that when you're no longer here, people can refer to what you said 10 years ago, what you said 5 years ago. Let people be able to find those things and let them become source of motivation for them, even when you're no longer here. Let your voice continue to speak when you can no longer speak in person. Do you see? That's how I want you to see it. So the legacy of Miles Monroe is still speaking, even after he's been long gone. That's legacy. So the question then is, now that you know that your voice is your legacy, your voice is influence, your voice is your identity, how are you going to use it? Remember the example that I talked about for Moses. Moses doubted himself, saying, I am slow of speech. But God assured him that he's the one that gives the gift of speech. And that reminds us that clarity and confidence is not about perfection. No, no, no. I didn't become this person who does not only now just speak for speaking purpose, I speak now and people are willing to pay me for speaking. Can you imagine that? Speaking that you do regardless. But people are saying, come and speak, and then we will pay you for speaking. That's another level. When people see value in what you want to say and they are willing to reward for it, they're willing to exchange value for it. That's another level. I didn't start like that 10 years ago, where people are interested in paying for me to speak. Do you see? So it's important that you understand that your voice is your identity, your voice is your influence, your voice is also what you have as your ability to exchange value. Right? It's what you have as value to exchange with other people. So it's not about perfection, it's about purpose. When we talk about finding your voice about what? What does your voice stand for? What do you speak about? What do people think about when they think about you? For instance, if you're looking for messages on faith, right? There are a number of people that come to mind immediately. Kenneth E. again had, words, had sound, had messages on faith. He was in fact called, the father of faith in our generation. Not just Abraham in the days of the Bible, but he had that message of faith. When you think about other people who have that message of faith, you think about Bishop David Oyedepo, you think about people like Pojo Yemade, and many other people like that. When we talk about who has the message or who gives language or who gives voice to conversations around leadership, there are people that also come to mind. Do you see? So when we talk about finding your voice, it's not just about opening your mouth to speak. It is, what does your voice represent? What is your own unique message that you have? You need to find it. You need to find your own unique voice. And that is what this conversation is about today. Meaning, what does your voice speak about? What does your voice represent? All right? Talking about Chimamanda again, what her voice represents is global perception of Africa. She presents Africa to the world through our own lens. That's what our voice represents. Okay? So your voice is more than just sound. Your voice is more than just saying what you want to say. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. It holds a message for the world. And that's why you have to be deliberate about what your voice represents. So you need to find, what is that thing that is important to you? What is that thing that catches your attention? What is that thing that you're passionate about that you want to lend your voice to? What is it? And why do you think clarity matters? Because that's where you start. If you are not clear about what your voice stands for and what your message should be to the world, that every time you speak, you will still not be able to speak from a place of clarity. People will just feel like they hear different things from you, but they can't really hold it down to one thing that you stand for. So you need to know what frustrates people the most or what irks you the most. All right? It's not about being understood. It's about understanding what frustrates people the most that you feel passionate or you feel like you have capacity to address. All right? Clarity is the difference between someone tuning in and someone tuning out. When you think about people like Martin Luther King, he didn't say, I have a strategic economic framework. No, he didn't say that. He said, I have a dream. Of course, I didn't meet Martin Luther King, but I heard the story about his message. I have a dream. Simple, clear, memorable. In Nigeria, for instance, if you look at someone like Tony Elumelu, His idea of Afro-capitalism is powerful, not because it is complex, but because he repeats it in a way that everyone understands it. And is really grounded on the idea that Africa must build its own wealth, and Africa must build it through entrepreneurship. That's exactly what he's saying. And we get it. And he doesn't just speak about it. You see, he put his money where his mouth is. He sponsors startup entrepreneurs. He funds ideas. He backs startup founders through his foundation. So my point is, don't bury your point or whatever it is that you're trying to say in jargons. Say it in the simplest way possible. That if a 10-year-old is listening to you, they should be able to understand what you're saying. And that is when you know that you're speaking with clarity. Clarity is what makes people listen to you. And without it, your ideas just get lost. Like as you're saying, it is just passing. People can't retain it. They can't even remember it. It's not memorable. But when you make it simple and relatable, people listen. You get their attention. Martin Luther King's speech of "I have a dream" remains powerful because of its clarity and simplicity. So I usually say you should use the KISS principle that says keep it short and simple. Whatever it is that you want to say, keep it short and simple. Instead of complicating it, overanalyzing, just speak to people like you're speaking to a 10-year-old. Speak to them in a way that they can understand. Just keep it simple. The clearer it is, the more simplified it is, the more likely it will stick with people. The more likely that they will remember it, the more memorable it will be. The more memorable it will be. Now let's talk about confidence and why confidence unlocks doors. Confidence opens doors. Now, clarity makes people understand you, right? When you speak with clarity, they get what you're saying. Confidence is what makes people believe you. Yes, there's a sense in which you're saying something and people know that, okay, you're just communicating an idea. They understand what you're trying to say. Do they believe what you're saying is a is a function of the level of confidence with which you present it. Confidence does not mean you're never afraid. It just means that you will speak despite the fear that you feel. Think about David in the Bible. He was a shepherd boy, yet he stood before Goliath. Why? Because his confidence was not in his size. Because if it was a function of his size compared to Goliath, then he shouldn't even be able to stand before him. But his confidence was in the God that backed him, that was bigger than Goliath. Do you see? Globally, look at someone like Oprah Winfrey. Her background was full of rejection. I don't know if you've heard her story before. Her background was full of rejection and pain. And I know that many of us can also relate with that. Maybe we grew up in an environment where people put us down, people spoke to us harshly, people criticized us, people shut us down. Maybe we went through some sort of humiliation growing up and pain and hurt. But guess what Oprah Winfrey did? She refused to let her story or whatever it is that happened in her past, she refused to let it silence her. She spoke with confidence, and today she's one of the most influential women on earth. Now let's bring it closer home. How many of you knows Burna Boy? Burna Boy once said people mocked him before he blew up and became this sensational entertainer that goes around the world and is making millions of dollars from his entertainment shows. You see, people looked at him a certain way. People wondered, what's this guy up to? People said all manner of things, right? They mocked him, but he kept using his voice. Literally, he kept using it. And that confidence made the world to listen. There's almost no part of the world where his music is not being listened to right now. So when you walk into that interview, when you pitch your business, when you share an opinion in a meeting, remember, your voice deserves to be heard. Your voice deserves to be heard. Like I said, confidence is not the absence of fear. It is you speaking despite the fear. Okay, despite the fear. Now, what are the practical ways to find and grow your voice? Because we need to begin to tie this all up together. How do you find and grow your voice? Number one, let's get practical with it, because it's important that you don't just find your voice, but you build clarity and confidence into it. Number one thing that I would say to you is know your message. Know your message. Because speaking is not just about opening your mouth and everything that comes out to just speak. No, it's about what you want to lend your voice to, what's important to you. Know your message. This is a journey that I've been on myself in terms of refining what it is that I really want to stand for, what I want to speak about. When you see my video anywhere, what am I speaking about? What is the undertone across everything that I'm saying? If you know me very well, you know that I speak a lot about structure. I speak a lot about sustainability. I speak a lot about generational wealth. I speak a lot about legacy. Those are the things that I'm passionate about and I speak about. And in fact, those are the things also that I get invited to come and speak about. So when people don't know you for something, it's unlikely that they would identify you with that message and call you to come and speak about it. So you need to know what your message is. What do you stand for? For some people, it is parenting. It is how you help a girl child not fall into bad errors or mistakes. It is how you help maybe nursing mothers or women that are waiting on God for the fruit of the womb. That can be your own niche. It can be women that are dealing with infertility, women that are dealing with maybe certain infertility issues, and you lend your voice consistently. It can be you speaking to maybe cancer, women that are dealing with cancer or that have gone through, cancer, all of that. Let's say that was your experience. Maybe you were diagnosed and you went through, the treatment and God gave you a chance at life and all that. And you want to lend your voice to people that are dealing with cancer. That can be your own area. For some people, it is healthy living. Healthy living. It just can be anything, but it's something that must resonate with you. It must be something you're passionate about. It must be something that you feel called to add value to that conversation. And your own voice matters. People may have been hearing it, but when they hear your own, it will resonate in a different way. And that's something that I know because it's a journey that I've been through myself. Because sometimes I want to speak about something and then I see a lot of people talking about, and there's a sense where I begin to feel like, okay, maybe people have already heard enough of it. But no, I have learned over the years that your voice matters. Irrespective of what other people have been saying about it, your own voice matters. Now, when you've been able to narrow down what you want to say, which is your message, what you want to consistently talk about and position your voice for, right? You need to practice it out loud. Practice, practice, practice. Confidence grows through rehearsals. Whether you're speaking to a small group or you're speaking to one person, or you just go on Zoom and record yourself, or you just go live on YouTube, just as I'm doing, and you speak and talk that you're passionate about, that you think the world should know about. Okay, you don't necessarily have to have a big audience. The world of social media today, in fact, gives everybody a platform to speak. If you know that you have anything, just hold your phone and say whatever it is that you really want to say. But I'm just saying, give yourself room to practice before you show up, because your confidence is going to grow. Okay, your confidence is going to grow over time. Number 3 thing that I'm going to say is start small. Don't start big. Start small and then grow big. Start small and then grow big. Starting small, like I said, can be you doing the mirror talk, where you talk to yourself in the mirror. You talk to yourself in the mirror and you reinforce your confidence that way. It can be you sitting down with your friend, just one person, and you say what you want to say to them. It can be you sitting down with a small group of people. Whatever it is that you want to teach the world, teach one person first. Whatever it is that you want to share with the rest of the world, share it with one person first. Start small. Don't think about even setting up or owning a YouTube channel just yet. You can start with your Instagram. Post a video that you recorded on your phone. In fact, start on WhatsApp. That's even a more shielded space. All those communities that you're on, share your thoughts in written form, in voice form, in video form. Speak in your department meetings. Speak in your church groups. Teach a friend. Every step is building your courage. Every step is building your courage. The day you are now invited to go on a big stage and speak to a large audience, you will find that you will speak from somewhere that is deep because you'll be making deposits there all along. All right? So start small, grow big. Number 4, seek feedback. Even when I go on big platforms and I speak, I still seek feedback. Even though I've grown in my journey of speaking and owning my voice, I still seek feedback. So ask trusted friends. Ask them, how did I come across today? Do you think my message was clear? What do you think I could have done better? Did my message land well? What was memorable about what I said? What did you remember about what I said today? Ask for feedback because we are all work in progress. We are all growing. We are all getting better. So nobody is really perfect. And this is not about perfection, like I said, it's about progress. So seek feedback and then use the feedback to refine your next speech. And then more importantly, don't try to be anybody else. Own your own uniqueness as much as possible. Your accent, your background, your story, it's not a weakness. It's your superpower. It's your superpower. There's some people that have the unique ability to be able to speak in local dialect. Own it. Because a time will come that, when that particular thing, your ability to speak in local dialect will be critical, will be why you are sought after, will be why an audience, will resonate and vibe with you because you can speak in a language that they understand. Some people speak pidgin language, pidgin English, as we call it in Nigeria, for instance, very well. And that allows you ability to penetrate a certain type of audience. I'm not fluent, for instance, with that. And so if there's a need for me to speak to market women in pidgin, that may be something I will struggle with. But there's another person who will flow and they will connect so easily. So whatever it is that you think you have, even that accent that you think you have, convert it. Convert it. There's somebody that I know, for those of you that are in Nigeria, she's a comedian. Her name is Wari Pikin. She uses a Wari accent to speak. And also, it was one of the things that really stood her out amongst all the other comedians, amongst all the other people that were speaking and entertaining. She uses that Wari waffle, language. She uses it to speak. And she's so captivating, she's so entertaining and everything. And it's so unique to her. I don't even remember anybody else that speaks that way. That's her uniqueness. And it's her superpower. And it has become our identity. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? So own your own uniqueness. Own it. Own it. When I first started speaking, I was also trying to figure out, okay, who should I sound like? Do I need to sound like somebody? Whatever. But I quickly realized that people connect more with authenticity. There are many people that have come into my coaching program just because they found me on Instagram and they say something like, I just found you randomly on Instagram and I connected with your authenticity. I'm like, whoa. So if I had spent time trying to sound like somebody, trying to sound like some motivational speaker, if that person found me on social media, do you think that they will have resonated? Perhaps maybe they've heard that same person I was trying to sound like before. When they come to my page and they find me speaking like that, it's going to be a turn off for them because they will just be looking at me like this person is just a copycat. She's trying to sound like so person that I know. But I mean, this is this person's voice. Why are you sounding like her? Or why are you sounding like him? But own your own voice. I realized that people actually connect with authenticity, not imitation. Don't become a second-class citizen. Don't become an imitation of somebody else. For me, that was a turning point in my speaking career. Finding your own authentic voice. finding your own authentic voice, right? So as we begin to tie this together, I want to just talk a little bit about the role of contribution, why it is important, why you must contribute, why you must use your voice. And this is something that I really want you to take away from this conversation today, as short as it is. Your voice is not for you. Don't make the mistake that you're speaking for yourself. Your voice is for other people. And always have that at the back of your mind. Think about the story of Esther in the Bible. She didn't just speak up for herself alone. Her voice saved her entire people, right? I remember this lady, Fumi Yonda. I don't know if you guys know her. She used to run a popular TV program back in the day, right? And those days, she used her media platform to give voice to issues that many people were too scared to touch, were too scared to talk about, right? You know, you can decide what you want to use your own platform for. Another person, for instance, was Malala Yousafzai. She was shot for going to school. She used her voice to fight for millions of girls. So let me challenge you. What are you going to use your own voice for? That's the challenge I'm leaving you with today. What are you going to use your own voice for? In your workplace, in your family, in your society. Because silence is not always golden. Sometimes it is deadly. Sometimes if we don't speak up about something that affects a lot of people are going to die because of that thing. So what are you going to use your voice for today? What's that thing that makes you feel uncomfortable, that affects a lot of people, and you feel like, I can say something, I can do something about this? What is that thing? I want you to remember that your voice is not for you alone. It's a gift to others. It's a gift. It's a gift. I need you to remember that clarity makes you understood by people, but confidence is what makes you remembered. Confidence is what makes people remember what you're saying, remember you and believe what you're saying. It's confidence, the way you deliver it, the conviction with which you deliver it is what makes people believe what you're saying. You can say something that is clear and people feel like, okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but when you present it with a level of conviction and confidence, it makes you a memorable speaker. It makes you to be remembered. So this quarter, for the rest of this year, I need you to make it a personal commitment to speak up, whether you're in a meeting, in fact, have you ever found yourself in a situation where you're in a meeting and you have this fantastic idea, and while you're still ruminating on whether you should share the idea or not, somebody else speaks up and says exactly the same thing that you wanted to say. And you're like, oh, this guy just stole my idea. Guess what? What I've come to realize in my life as a career executive, having gone through my own career and journeyed into entrepreneurship, is every idea that comes into your mind is also dropping into the mind of 1,001 other people. It is the person that takes action on that idea that can take credit for it. I have seen more than 1,000 times where I see something, I'm like, oh, that's my idea. I had this idea some time ago. Yes. When you don't give voice to those ideas that drop in your mind, when you don't language it and give it a message that you share with the rest of the world, other people will take credit for it. And then you'll be flogging yourself internally. Why didn't I say it? Why didn't I say it? So I'm challenging you to speak up. Whether you're in meetings, whether you're at work, in your family, whether you're online, whether in your WhatsApp communities, your church communities, please, your alumni communities, don't hide your ideas. Don't bury your voice. I want you to commit this quarter, this last quarter of 2025. I want you to commit that you're not just going to sit on your ideas, that you're going to speak and share them and write them and post them, present them to the world, because the world is waiting for your voice. Let me leave you with this. When you find your voice, you have found your influence. And when you use it, you will use it to you will shape the world around you. When you find your voice, you have found your influence. When you use it, you will use it to shape the world around you. So let's go out there and shape the world around us. Let's use it to serve other people. Because really, our leadership journey, our journey of becoming better people, our journey of being able to add value to other people is all about how we're able to use what we've got to add value to other people. And that is my challenge to you. That's my charge to you in this last quarter of the year. That you go out there and add value. You are deliberate about adding value to people, intentionally adding value to people, not sitting on your ideas, but giving language, giving voice to your ideas and not holding back in sharing them. I hope this has been meaningful for you. I hope it has added value to you as well. I hope you feel, challenged to go out there and do something really meaningful. I hope that this has inspired you to also begin to build a legacy. When people talk about legacy, and it has become a buzzword these days, when people talk about legacy, they think it's about having big money in your bank account, being a billionaire and all of that. No, legacy is also about your values. Legacy is about what you stood for, what you lend your voice to, your message. Those are also your legacy. So you don't wait until you're 60 before you wake up to the reality that you need to, intentionally build your legacy. Start in your 20s. Okay? Start to lend your voice to the things that you're passionate about that can help other people, that can uplift other people, that can shape culture and shift economies, shift society, shift perspectives, and connect you with the rest of the world. That's my challenge to you this quarter. Go and work on it. Specifically in this month, go and work on this. Come up with specific actions of the things that you're going to do. Start with baby steps. As little as doing mirror talk, as little as, sharing your thoughts in your own little community and begin to grow. Don't just stay in your small community, but begin to grow and lend your voice to the rest of the world. I'm rooting for you. And I hope that you're going to take a chance on yourself to begin to build your leadership capacity by finding your voice and communicating clarity and confidence. God bless you.